Okay, so we've been live now with Ravn Alpha for about 3 or 4 days or something like that since Monday actually. So today's Friday, so we've been live with Ravn for about 5 days now, and I've basically just been focusing on fixing all these bugs here and there that we have coming in. So this is great. And in this video, I'm gonna actually demonstrate how we can build a market making strategy with Ravn, because I think this is a very good use case for Ravn. So we start by dragging over the venue node, and from here you can select Polymarket. Polymarket is the only option for now, but we will have more coming in later. And then we can drag over the market selector node and connect it to. The market selector node just defines what markets that we will trade on. So you can select specific markets. You can also select a series of markets. So for example, a Bitcoin 15-minute up and down or 5-minute up and down. And you paste in the ID like so. And I will in the future, actually something I'm working on now, make it easier to browse markets, because right now it's actually a little bit difficult to find the ID of the specific market. You have to look through the API. So I know this is not very user friendly today, but I will make it possible to make it easier to browse the markets and select it from here. And then we need a signal. We can take a signal from the order book, say the best bid. So the strategy that I'm trying to implement here is basically just placing resting limit orders on the order book. So for that, we want the bid from the order book, because we want to place it relative to the bid. And then we need some signals for order monitoring. So currently we have pending order count, and then we have pending order price, because we want to check how many active, or actually how many pending orders we have, and we also want to check the price of any active orders that we might have. And all of these we're going to use in a formula condition node. I'm going to drag this over as well. So for the formula, we can do two mappings. So let's say we do the bid. So that's going to be mapped here to the bid, and then we can do the order price. And you can define this however you want. For the variable mappings, it's just important that you actually type it correctly in the formula expression. And then in the formula expression, I'm gonna paste this formula here. So where we check if the order price is greater than 0 and order price is greater than or equal to bid minus basically the tick size, typically, or the spread. But in this case, I'm just going to do 0.01. You can also add, for example, if you go to the order book, you can actually the market data, we have the tick size, or in the order book, we also have the spread, which is possible to use. So what we want to do with this formula is basically maintain a resting order between the best bid and then some levels down on the order book. And I'm going to show you exactly how that looks like a little bit later. So this is the formula that we're using. We basically just checks that it is either greater than the bid minus 0.01 or less than bid minus 0.01 for the order price. So it rests between the bid minus this and the bid minus this. And then we need a threshold condition, because we want to check the pending order count. Now the pending order count and the order max price, these has to be connected with the action. So if you go down here and select the buy action, these two actually have to be connected. Now I do understand that it's starting to get a little bit messy now, and this is something that I'm actively sort of thinking about how to actually make this a little bit more easier to understand, because now we have these nodes. It's something we can change in the UI. This is basically just a UI kind of issue. So it is that when we do this a little bit advanced strategies, it does start to look a little bit messy, but this is again a very early alpha, and we will be changing this hopefully in the near future, so it's easier to understand. So now we have the pending orders, and we have the pending orders count and the pending orders price. Okay, and these are connected with action, so it's sort of hooked in with this action, so it understands which action it has to look at. Now, when to actually buy So we want to buy when we don't have any orders. So we have this pending orders count, and it's connected with threshold. So now what we can do is, if we do equal to, if we do like this, equal to 0, that basically just means whenever we don't have a pending order, we want to place one. So I can drag the true condition over to the action, and that's when we actually start to buy. And then what we need to do is, we need to find, first of all, we need to set the amount. So let's just put $5 for sake of example here. And then you need to select the strategy type. Now, since we want to do a resting order, we have to select the best bid. You can also do best ask. You just have to think about the price offset. So if you put your resting order on the absolute best bid, there's a high chance that it's actually going to get filled. For this strategy, we actually don't want to get filled because there is rewards on Polymarket if you just provide liquidity, which we are doing here with this kind of strategy. But actually, we don't want to get filled because getting filled is actually a little bit risky for us. So we want to place the order, for example, just one tick below the best bid. For this example, we just do 0.01. And I'm not going to do any stop loss, take profit. So I'm just going to write 0 for both of these. And then we need actually to do max trigger, set that to 0. And because that allows it to actually repeat again and again. We can also do an order timeout. So for this, I will just do 20 seconds, because then it's actually automatically going to cancel out 20 seconds, and then the strategy it would resolve the true again and place another order. So for this example, I'm just going to place a 20-second timeout. But then in case that the order is actually getting filled, which we don't want, but we need to handle that if it gets filled. So that's where we actually have the Lifecycle hook, where we can use that. So if you connect the buy action with the Lifecycle hook, you can define different triggers. Now the default is filled, but actually there's other options. So for example, you have partially filled, cancel, rejected, failed, and timeout. Okay, so for the sake of this example, we are just going to do filled. And then what you can do is you can do another action and then connect it. Like so. Now, you also have to, of course, set the outcome. So in this case, when we are buying, or actually when we are placing and resting, we're just going to do it on the up. You can also do it on the down, or whatever market you have. So for this example, I'm just going to do up. And then again, we have the Lifecycle hook here. So when it's getting filled, we don't want that, but it can happen. Then we also want to place a buy, and we're going to do this on the ask side in this case. And we're going to do it on the opposite outcomes. We're going to do this on the down. So this basically just hedges the fill, so we don't risk too much money. And here we're just going to do the best ask with no price offset. And again, we're going to do no stop loss and no take profit. Again, because we just want to hedge that order. All the other fields we can leave unchanged. And then the last one is the formula we have down here. So this is actually where we handle the cancels. So if they are the price of our pending order, which is the resting order on the order book, reaches a certain threshold, that's when we want to cancel it. And for that, we have the cancel action. So you can paste that into the canvas here and then drag this over. And you can see here, you can target an action. So in this case, it's automatically going to select the buy on the bid side here, which is this one. So that is fine. And all the other areas we can actually leave blank, except for the max triggers. This one we're going to put 0, because then it's actually going to fire repeatedly. It's otherwise, if we don't put max triggers, if we put max triggers to, let's say, 1 here and 1 here, currently the way it works is that it's actually only going to fire one time both. For example, if you only want to buy one time on a market, then that's what you would do. And it's also to prevent rapid fires and stuff like that. So this should be this should actually be enough for that. We can just go ahead and update it, and then we can start the strategy. So after we've saved this strategy, we can select it from here. So I'm going to do this 15-minute market making, which is the one we just worked on, and then I click deploy bot. And then it's just going to initialize the container and deploy the bot onto the market. It's gonna take a little bit before we get data in. So initially it's gonna look like this, and then after a while you're gonna see we're starting to get data in, and we also have now a new feature which is actually the order book. So the order book, you can see here how we have orders coming in now, and it's actually getting a cancel right away. So you should be able to see the resting orders on the book after a while. Yeah, so you can see here we have a pending order now. You can see here we placed a pending order added at 47 on this market here, and you can see it with the size, so 10.64 shares. So it's currently resting here, and it should automatically be cancelled if it moves either too high up the order book or too sort of low down. So this is where we define the formula. Now we don't have that many events coming in now because it's a fresh market, but then now when it starts here in about a few seconds, I think it's probably gonna get cancelled or filled soon. But again, it might. This is only simulation, so the way it works in a real sort of trading environment might be different. But this is currently how it looks like, the new order book. It's not deployed yet on the alpha, but I will deploy that hopefully soon-ish. And you can see the current mid price, you can see the best ask, best bid, the spread, and the tick size. And you can also see when it has been updated last time. And you can see how now it moves down. Actually, oh, now it moves up again. And you can follow along here that what happens is it's actually getting removed. So when it fell down too much, it got removed automatically. And we have a little bit more logs here, so it's easy to sort of bug fix your trading strategies. And then you can see here that it actually adds it again on the 0.46 price, which it is here currently. And you can see how it moves up and down. And yeah, so now you can see here that actually it got rejected. So this is also a feature. This is a risk sort of security feature that you can change in your settings. So there's a rate limit if you want to prevent your strategy from firing too fast, too soon. This one is currently set at 10 actions per minute, and you can see here it kept, adding and removing the order, simply because these kind of markets, especially this up and down market, moves very fast. So this is why we probably want to increase this for a market like the 15 or 5-minute Bitcoin market. But and the way you do this is actually from the settings. So if you go to the settings, and the current it's a portfolio setting. So if you go to the settings, you can scroll down, and you can see the rate limits here. So you can set how many actions do you want to happen per minute maximum. So in this case, it was 10. So if the 11th action, for example, the buy action, would be completely rejected. And you can also set per hour, per day, and so on. So yeah, so now the strategy is basically not firing because we had that action rejected. And what I'm working on right now is actually a mechanism to reset this. So currently this is going to be reset at the next market, but I will make a feature so it allows the strategy to automatically sort of start listening for events again. So these are some features that we currently do not have on alpha, but I will be releasing it, I expect, this week. I'm actively working on it. There's still some things that I need to fix. And if we go back to the strategy here, now it is a little bit, it can be a little bit like confusing to look at, and there's still some things I need to tweak. And we also want to be able to put more than just one pending order. And you could actually do that. You could do another sort of row up here where you have a different increment. So if you go to the action here, now we have the offset at 0.03. You can also do one at 0.02. And if you do it, for example, 2, you can also do one at 4, and so on and so forth. And that would actually also work. But for the sake of this example, this is how it's actually working. Yes, so this is just an example of how to do a market making strategy with Ravn. Obviously, we are still in a very early phase, and again, it's only alpha. If you want to participate in this, if you want to have early access, I'm going to make sure to leave a link down in the description below. We have this Discord channel. We have almost 2,000 members in this Discord channel that are just discussing everything in between, trading bots, trading on Polymarket, Cal's opinion, doing bot development. You can see some chats about bot development, strategy and data, predictions, crypto, vibe coding, and basically everything in between related to trading bots and prediction markets. So completely free to join. And again, there's also an invite in the description down below. So with that said, see you at the next video. Bye.